The boy from Company 8 with an Adola burst experienced an Adola link with the demon.
Then that settles it. Yes, we must acquire him, for the Evangelist wills it. It's a waste for the Fire Force to have an asset like that. There may be more to this than it seems. I'll go along next time.
Hello everybody, Megazard here. I'm back at it again to give y'all another exciting episode review for Fire Force, and this time is going to be over episode 15, The Blacksmith's Dream. And if you haven't already checked out my episode 14 review of Fire Force, you can go ahead and click that card in the corner and check that video out, and then come back and check this one though. But oh my freaking goodness, this episode covered a crap ton, and I'm pretty sure crap ton is still an understatement, because they managed to go through 4 major things I'm going to have to go through and talk about within this episode review. The first part of the episode, it started off with the White Clad and their members, and we got to see, Sho make another appearance once again, but in clearer detail this time. We get to see a new scientist that just randomly showed up out of nowhere that says, hey, I'm going to start working with Company 8, and something smells quite a bit fishy with that. And then we turn around and get to see an encounter with somebody that Captain Obi wants to recruit so desperately bad, but at the same time as all that mess is going down, Company 3's leader happens to show up at that scene where Shinra and a couple of his other friends are at, and there's some deep backstory with that, and some eyebrowing, kind of raising, kind of suspicious activity kind of going on around with Company 3, and it seems like Company 3 is about to show its card, just like how Company 5 and Company 1 did within their respective arcs. But overall, this episode had quite a bit of stuff jam-packed up into it, and I'm just going to have to crack this shell open and break it down for all y'all. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight up into this Fire Force episode review, along with this brand spanking new hot take intro.
I told you, Vulcan loathes the Fire Force. This is a total waste of your time.
We're trying to change the world here. We gotta do the impossible. Let's try and see what happens.
I just got here and things are getting interesting already. Well, this should be as good a test as any. Let's see if you can help us reach our goals or not. Company 8.
So starting off at the very beginning of the episode, it's just kind of showing those final kind of concluding moments from the previous episode, from episode 14, where we get to see 2 of those White Clad members walking back into what seems to be like their home base area. And we figure out the name of one of the people was Yona, and he was the one that was messing with people's face in Asakusa, making all of those imitations of other people that were the fakes. That guy's name is Yona. And the other person is Arrow, and Arrow was the one that was shooting those fire arrows, so it kind of makes sense for her name, so ain't nothing crazy. But anyway, they were addressing their leader, and their leader is none other than Sho, who was supposed to be, Shinra's, younger brother, the one that went missing, that he thought would have, potentially would have died in that fire years ago. But it was thanks to Joker that kind of revealed that information to Shinra for some odd reason, that, Shinra knew that he was basically, there was a potential that he was still alive. And Sho is the leader of the Knights of the Argon Flame. So basically, Yona and Arrow were addressing him, and they were saying, hey, our previous friend, he basically, gave his life, but he managed to go with Demon. So it is possible that you could still do this again. And then Arrow also mentioned the fact that, hey, they have somebody on Company 8's side that actually has an Adola burst and has an Adola link that connects to the demon. And Sho thought to himself, all right, hey, this is somebody that we're going to desperately need in order to get on our side, because that's just a waste for them to have somebody with an Adola burst, with an Adola link that has a connection to the demon that's working on the Fire Force side instead of on our side, trying to, you know, accomplish the goal for the evangelist. And that was where the first scene ended for the episode. So that was major plot point number 1, and then we move into major plot point number 2, and this being that there was a brand new scientist that just showed up out of nowhere, claiming that he said, hey, I'm going to start working for Company 8. And then Captain Obi was over there talking to Captain Hibana and was like, man, something doesn't sound right about this, because how in the world does someone just show up at your front doorstep and say, hey, I get to start working with you now? Something just seemed super fishy about the whole entire scenario. And when we look at to see who this new quote unquote is going to be the new scientist for Company 8, it is none other than that weird scientist dude that we saw way back within episode 3, I believe, where he was the one that was actually talking to Joker at the time, talking about those firebugs before we even knew that those firebugs were the ones that actually, you know, made people go infernal. So with us knowing that background information on this dude, we already know that for some oddball reason, we don't know quite the angle that Joker's working with. We don't know if he's exactly working with the Evangelist, because why in the world would Joker come to Shinra that one day and tell him all of this information about Sho, about his long lost brother, and how he's, you know, working underneath the Evangelist now? Something just doesn't seem quite right, and I'm still trying to figure out the angle on Joker and then the connection that he manages to have with this new scientist though. But we figure out who this scientist's name is, and his name is none other than Victor Lick. And Captain Obi was kind of going through his resume and kind of seeing what all he is and see if he was quote unquote Company 8 material. And that means pretty much, hey, you kind of want to get rid of all infernos, you want to do good to the world, you want to save people, you're not working with a corrupted mind, etc., etc. But basically, you know, Victor was just busting them out on all of Company 8's flaws. He was saying, hey, you didn't, at this point, didn't have a scientist until I showed up here. You also didn't have an engineer as well. And then Captain Obi's like, hey, we're working on that. And we were thinking about hiring an engineer, and they wanted to hire Vulcan, who is honestly the best of the best. And not only every Fire Force company wanted to recruit him, also Hajime Industry themselves wanted to recruit this dude because his skills are so good. But however, he turned down everybody because he really hates Hajime with a burning passion, and not just Hajime Industries, but all of the Fire Forces companies, because, you know, they work and associate themselves with Hajime Industry. So that's why no one has been able to officially kind of recruit them for them to be their engineer. And basically, you know, Captain Obi was still trying to size up Victor and see everything though. But essentially, you know, after the Evangelist incident popped up, Hajime Industry kind of, you know, recruited, or not recruited, but they basically told Victor, said, hey, because, you know, Victor actually worked underneath Hajime Industry, and they told him, hey, you need to go over and work with Company 8. So this might be, you know, Hajime Industries quote unquote spy within to see what Company 8 is up to, because they know that something's fishy with Company 8, because they're not like, you know, Company 7 downward, or not really Company 7, because Company 7 was his own little thing, but Company 6 and downward, because more of them kind of associate themselves with Hajime Industries, so they're kind of trying to pick their brain and see what Company 8 is all really about. But anyway, that was it for the major plot point 2 of this episode, and then we got to transition over into the major plot point 3, and that is because Captain Obi basically sent Shinra, Arthur, and Iris all to go and see if they could find a way to recruit Vulcan. And they knew that, hey, you go up there dressed up in your, you know, your Fire Force attire, that there's no way that this dude is going to be able to open up to you. So he said, you know, keep it casual, keep it relaxed, don't be deceptive, just trying to find a way to kind of convince him and persuade him to work with us, because we're different, we're not like the other Fire Force companies. So anyway, they walk over and they find a place wherever Vulcan is working at, and it looks like a junkyard kind of a thing, because he you know, with him being an engineer, he kind of tweaks and plays with a bunch of stuff. So this environment kind of seemed pretty suitable for Vulcan though. But they walk up, and the first thing that happens is there was like a can that was just thrown straight at Shinra, and then Arthur started laughing or whatever, and then the can hits Arthur too, and it was just kind of funny to see those kind of comedic effects going on within the episode, which kind of, you know, added, you know, a nice little balance to this after all of that heavy tense action that we got from the previous episode though. So already right off the bat, You know, Vulcan wasn't warming up to them. And then we saw this younger little boy kind of walk across the way, and his name is Yu, and he's basically kind of like a young apprentice for Vulcan, because for some oddball reason, Vulcan's not able to get the materials that he wants, and Yu's basically kind of doing his errand runs and kind of bringing back materials for him to work on, though. But essentially, you kind of already notices right off the bat that, you know, these Fire Force people, they're not like the other companies. So he said he was willing to hear them out and see, you know, why, the reason that they were there. And they were basically, you know, there to recruit Vulcan to see if he can work for them, though. And after some talking, you open up to them and say, all right, you know what, I'll bring you in and see if I can try to convince them to be able to talk to you, even if it's just for like, basically like 5 minutes. So he walks them up in there, though. And then right off the bat, we meet another woman, and her name is Lisa, and she basically kind of lives there and stays with Vulcan as well. And then she kind of gets frustrated with you, like, why would you let fire soldiers up in here? You know that's crazy, because, you know, Vulcan, you know, despises them so much. And then he was like, hey, these people are unlike the other Fire Force companies. I just want them to talk to Vulcan for just a moment. Just let Vulcan kind of hear him out. And we kind of figure out that the cans that they were throwing at Shinra and Arthur, it was thrown by like a robotic arm. So they were like, what the heck? Like, how was that thing nailing us in the head so much? And then you see another cool little comedic effect, because you see Sister Iris. Sister Iris is so innocent. Like, she's so pure, and she was going around and pressing all of these different buttons that were doing different things, and it honestly kind of reminded me of Dee Dee from Dexter's Laboratory. Like, she couldn't help herself from pressing all these buttons that were just doing all these different kind of things, even shooting something off of his building like that from one of the button presses, though. But overall, it was just some really cool comedic effects and stuff. But then you get down to the nitty gritty, and they finally start talking to Vulcan about saying, hey, we're not like the other Fire Force companies. We want to use our power and our resources and any help that we're able to get, and be able to use that to help other civilians, you know, basically end the Infernals once and for all, and just help people wherever we can. And after some conversations kind of going back and forth between Vulcan and Shinra, just going back and forth, he basically kind of saw the goofiness that, you know, these three kind of showed around, and saw a little bit more how sincere they were. And he's like, okay, I sort of kind of believe you. I guess you're not really like some of the other Fire Force companies. And essentially he said, hey, come with me real quick. You know, my answer's still going to be no, but I do want to show you this. So he takes everybody outside and puts a little contraption on the ground, and it's kind of like one of those like visual effect kind of things where it's almost like a hologram, but we don't quite see it as like a hologram. It's something kind of different, but it kind of projects something up, kind of like how you're at like a water show, and they kind of portray like lights and colors and stuff on the water. It's something kind of to that effect, but it just shows up in the air around you, though. But basically, it just shows different environments, you know, just on the land and the sea. And then Vulcan said, hey, could you believe that there used to be billions of animals that used to live on the planet long ago? Because ever since the whole Infernal incident happened, a lot of the different continents around the world started to burn up. And, you know, this area that that all these Fire Force members and the rest of society are living in is right next to Hajime Industries. And it's like one of the few safe places in the world from all of the Infernal breakouts. And he says that the Motorasu generates enough power for the people of the Empire for them to basically be able to live and survive. And he wants to create a new energy source to bring back all life to Earth, animals and humans, because the energy that they're relying on right now is only enough for them to be able to support this small little area that Hajime Industries, the Fire Force, all of them kind of protect, though. But he wants to think of something even bigger and better, to where, you know, we can start using this energy to help, you know, bring back civilization in a lot of these other areas in the world that have been totally devastated and kind of just burned down to the ground. And through seeing all of this, Shinra basically was able to tell that this dude was very genuine, and he is quote-unquote Company 8 material, because you got to see how pure his intentions are. He's not corrupt, he's not, you know, bad. He seems like somebody that could work very well with Company 8. So he knew that instantly we need to find a way to recruit this dude, because this dude really is the real deal. And then, you know, all of them kind of head back inside or whatever, though. And then this is where things really get interesting. And this leads into the fourth and last major plot point of this episode. And that is the involvement with Company 3. Now, Company 3 was the one that kind of approached Vulcan all these multiple different times and saying, hey, come work with us. Hey, you need to start working with us because, you know, you need to start putting your efforts into Hajime Industries. And that goal of yours with the animals and stuff, hey, you know what? That's not even ideal. You know, you can never do that. Put your work into something good and be able to save all these people's lives, though. But Vulcan was basically holding a grudge against him because he said, I'm not going to join a group like yours if you're the ones that basically killed my father and my grandfather. And we didn't kind of know exactly what that meant at the time, though. But apparently, Vulcan had his father and he had his grandfather. And his grandfather had his son, which is, you know, Vulcan's dad, along with Giovanni, that's the dude's name of, you know, Fire Force Company 3. He had his son and Giovanni basically working underneath him. And he said, no matter what, do not put your work for, you know, being a technician and an engineer, do not put your work towards Hajime Industries. He basically told his pupils that. But for some oddball reason, his grandfather, as well as his dad, basically died and kind of went infernal simultaneously at the same time. And instantly, we know that that's kind of fishy. And we know basically, hey, the only reason why that would happen is because of some fire bugs both winning them at the same time. Because the odds of you going infernal at the same time are slim to none. And then the second that was done with, Giovanni went immediately and started working with Hajime Industries, something that Vulcan's grandfather told him not to do. So that's how Vulcan is kind of related to Giovanni in a sense. And that's where that kind of connection comes from. And because of all of this, you know, stuff, and honestly, the whole entire lineage of Vulcan's family never had a good connection with Hajime Industry as a whole. That's why Vulcan doesn't get along well with Giovanni, along with all the other Fire Force companies and Hajime Industries. And it was because of Giovanni, the reason why Vulcan couldn't, you know, get the materials that he wanted to need in order to keep building things, because Giovanni was basically trying to put pressure on Vulcan and saying, hey, you know, we're going to cut off your supplier so that way you can't build anything because you need to make this decision now because you need to come work for us. And he's been denying him. Basically, he sent him off for the very last time. And he said, hey, if you don't make the decision now, hey, you're going to regret it. And then he walks off. And then Shinra and them basically kind of walked out there and said, hey, are you all right? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. And then, not even for a second, Shinra's Adola link starts to kick back in once again. And this kind of goes on to the confirmation of what I basically said in my previous last episode review of how the Adola link can be basically used for good scenarios as well as for bad scenarios in terms of, you know, what's about to come and happen next. Because in the last episode, his Adola burst kicked in because one of his friends needed help in order to save Benimaru, so that's why his Adola link started going off and it's like, oh shoot, someone's in need of help. And in this case scenario, the Adola link is basically being used as an omen of danger as somebody's basically out for bloodthirst. So we basically get confirmation at this point, the Adola link can be basically used for, hey, someone needs help, good, like with the good intentions of saving somebody, or it can be used to sense the bad intentions of somebody else if they're out for bloodthirst as well though. So essentially, Company 3's leader saying, hey, you know, Vulcan needs to die. And basically, you know, that's a red flag up. And then, you know, Arthur and Iris are about to say, all right, let's go home for now. And then Shinra's like, hold on, nope, we're going to need to stay here because, hey, you know, Vulcan over here is going to be in need of a hero. And that's essentially where the episode ends. So overall, between all four of these major plot things that happen within this episode, oh man, it was quite a bit to take up in, but I'm surprised that they were able to squeeze this much content within this episode though. But I enjoyed every single second of it. And that brand new opening though, oh my goodness, that is so good. I've enjoyed it a lot. And it's kind of hard for me to peg whether or not I like the second one more or the first one more, because you know, when you hear something new and it's kind of, you know, brand new and stuff and it sounds cool and stuff, man, I just start to gravitate towards it. But in that opening, they showed quite a bit of eye-revealing stuff as we got to see, you know, Lit be in like a Fire Force uniform. We also got to see Vulcan up in there in action. And it's basically just kind of like foreshadowing some future events of things that are just about to go on though. But overall, I just really like the opening as well. So just all the way around, a solid episode for me, and it was honestly one of the best episodes I thought that I've seen recently within Fire Force. There's been a lot of good ones in the past though, but this one I definitely put in my top tier category in terms of setting up what all is about to come within this next arc though. But other than that, that is about it for my episode review over Fire Force. So if you really like this video, go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe button, and go ahead and hit that bell notification to stay notified on everything that I'm reviewing this season for Fire Force. And just a quick little housekeeping note, I also created a brand new Facebook page, and you can find the links for that down in the description box below, along with my Twitter. And I just created that, and I just got the construction done and everything though, so now it's up and live. So this is another way for you to be able to follow me in order just to see kind of what I'm up to, some things behind the scenes, and anything else I feel like talking or discussing about to y'all as the fans though. But other than that, that is about it. So make sure to tune in next time for my episode 16 review. We are family. All my brothers, sisters, and me. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the wrong one. No, it's just straight up We Are Family for next week's episode review. So until whatever video I make next, see y'all.
The time has come. Vulcan must be killed.
It's that same feeling I had back in Asakusa. That time, it was Lieutenant Conroe calling out for help. This time, it's Dr. Giovanni out for blood. We can't leave Vulcan on his own right now.